Right, now the first video was all about improving the 2-point perspective 3 cubes. If you needed to do that, you should be onto this one now. If you didn't, you can skip straight ahead to this one. It's entirely up to you which one you want to improve on for this week. I'm now going to go through the crating on 2-point perspective. Now this is where we're combining our skills that we did with crating back with what we're doing on the previous task with the 2-point perspective cubes. We're going to draw a cube again, just a cube on its own. I'm going to do it from the bottom angle, for example, here. So I'm going to have my horizon line like so. I'm going to make it a little bit higher there. Similar to my example up here, I've got a vanishing point there and a vanishing point there. I'm going to draw my cube. Now, because when I was doing crating, my letters were 5 centimeters tall, I'm going to 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm going to draw that line exactly 5 centimeters for that edge. Now here, I'll explain why I did that in a minute. Here I'm going to go across like that and like that. There I'm going to go across the same, like so. And now that's the beginning. That's what we was doing with 2-point perspective when we was doing that earlier. Now for now, all I'm going to do is turn it into a cube, like we did previously, like so. And go back on both sides. Now I have my cube here. I'm gonna work on this surface area. You can see what 3D letters look like from that angle. I'm going to do the other angle to show you something a little bit different. So first of all, I need to mark out my grid here. So I'm going to start off by each one of those centimeter lines going back. 1, 2, 3, 4, and I've already done 5 there. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 squares, just like that. Okay. Now, as for my next bit, what I want to do here, I'm actually going to try and figure out 4 across here, but I can't just sit there and measure 4 centimeters because, as I explained in the previous video, when we're dealing with perspective, as objects get further away, they get smaller. So the cube here is going to be bigger than the cube over there. Now, the easiest way to figure out where the center is on a cube like this is very lightly draw an X. Oh, I've done that a little bit too lightly for the camera there. I'm going to do that a little bit darker. Right, now, as always, X marks the spot. That is the center. Now, if I draw a line straight up, parallel to those ones there, that's actually the center of my cube. However, if I measured it, this side is just under 1.5 centimeters, and that side is less than 1 centimeter. So if I'm measuring sideways, that's actually a lot smaller than that. But we can already see here in perspective, it looks like it's the same size because as objects get further away, they get smaller. So I know where the middle of my cube is now, but I wanted to split this into 4 sections, not 2. So what I'm going to quickly do here is, again, I'm going to do an X on this side here. It's going to get a little bit confusing. I have to rub out some of these guidelines in the middle, but there's the center point here. So now I've split that into 2 again, lines straight up, and then I've got my 4 sections there. I'm going to do the same here. I am going to need to go get a rubber in a second. X marks the spot, line straight up. Right, I've got my 4 sections there. I'm going to go over them a little bit dark, but not too dark, because again, this is just my grid that I'm going to rub out in a minute. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. Right, let me just quickly grab a rubber. I have one here, good, excellent. I'm just going to lightly go over and get rid of those little cross marks now because I don't need them anymore. What I want to show here is just the grid. So I'm going to go over that a little bit darker so you can see. Now remember what we did with crating. This is all we're doing here. Now I've got my 2-point perspective cube and I figured out where my lines are in crating, go all the way back to that first lesson and the isometric lesson and the oblique lesson, and when we've done crating at different angles, the exact same rule. I'm going to start with the letter A that we did before. So if you go back to that grid, the letter A, the top one, we had a curve here, like so. We had a curve on that top corner over there. Now you'll notice this cube is a lot bigger than that cube, so that's fine. The bottom of the A went to here. I'm trying to remember, it was, how did it go? Goes straight up and across there, that bit there like that. And I believe, if I remember correctly, that curved to there, and that curved to there. That went straight across like so. That went there, and then that went there and there. Now you'll notice I'm using the grid lines, even though it's at a weird perspective. I followed the exact same crating rule that we've done in all the other lessons. It doesn't matter if it was crating on a flat surface or if it was crating in isometric or oblique. It's the same way to create the letter every single time. Now, can you see that letter? Yeah, that's showing up quite nicely on the letter A there. Same rule here. I'm going to start going round and looking for the 3D points. Now, the bottom corner here, I need to go backwards, but what angle am I going to go at? All these lines will always line up with that vanishing point. So over here, I'm going to line that up. I'm going to draw the line back until I hit the A. And you can see it's going to tuck in behind there. Same with the inside of the A here. I'm going to do the same there. Go back to my vanishing point and stop there. That's the inside bit there. As for the top of my A, well, I've got my curve that comes over here and then it goes back to my vanishing point there. Top of this curve does the same thing. That one does the same over there. The bottom does that and up. One change I'm going to make, you notice obviously it curves off here, so I'm going to curve it off there as well, just like that. I made that, it's quite a thick letter, but that doesn't matter, it's still 3D. You can make your letters a little bit thinner if you want. Again, this is another one of those examples where, you know, each letter will look different and unique. If I had the letter lower down, it'd be more of an angle. If I had it higher up, it would be a little bit flatter to the horizon line. If I made it a little bit thinner, it would come out slightly different. But there you can see simple 3D letter in 2-point perspective. Now, if you struggled with this last week and you at least get to this point, that's perfectly fine. I'll do one more video to show you how you can add 2 more letters to this and take it one step further. But at the very least, have a go at doing this, and if you weren't able to do this last week and you've done this now and you're happy with that, we can leave that as it is. I'll do one more video for the advanced people.